I have worked for DLA in September, it will be 39 years. Right out of college, I took the civil service test, which was the thing to do back at that time, and expecting to go to work for the post office that my father worked for. Instead, I received a job offer from the Defense Supply Center, Columbus, and I accepted a temporary GS3 clerk typist position there at, well, at the time it was DCSC, Defense Construction Supply Center. It was electric typewriters with carbon paper, and truth be told, I was not a very good typist. And it was a very stressful job for me, which thankfully, after 3 months, I was reassigned to the DLA Systems Automation Center there in Columbus as an input-output clerk, where I did not have to use my typing skills as much. I was made permanent as a GS3 input-output clerk there at DSAC Columbus, and now I am a GS14. I worked my way up to GS4, and then I was able to get into the intern program there at DSAC-U. So that was a 5-7-9-11 progression. After completing the intern program, I became a Unix administrator in DSAC-T. As a GS11, I was promoted to the GS12 there. And then from DSAC-T, I accepted a position over in DLA Europe in Wiesbaden and Mainz. Starting out as the clerk typist using the electric typewriter and carbon paper, now to where we have instant messaging and Teams and virtual meetings. It's just, the last 39 years, I mean, technology has just exploded, and I can only imagine it will continue to explode. While I was in Europe, we deployed the first firewalls over there, protecting, the DLA's computers and networks from the outside. And so that created the crunchy shell, if you will, that protects DLA from the outside world with the firewalls. And the firewalls have only increased, and we've only added more defense in-depth measures to protect the DLA computers and networks since then. We brought our desktop computers with us, the Ethernet cables, the satellite kit, and we deployed the network and got the communication set up for the contingency team so that they could communicate back to what was at the time SAMS, this was before our enterprise business system. So SAMS and DSS to process the purchase orders for the supplies for the warfighters that were deployed downrange. We didn't have the internet when I started back in the 80s. The internet really came into play during the 90s when the boom really happened and we were interconnected. That changed the way we looked at processing our procurement and our transactions over. It was no longer a batch system like we used to have. We were able to do it, connect our applications so that everything flowed seamlessly over the internet that we didn't even realize the processing was happening. From the supply side, what my perspective was from the IT side was that, and we first saw it really at during 9/11, because by that time the Joint Joint Task Force Global Network Operations, JTF-GNO, was set up under the U.S. Cybercom umbrella at the DoD level. So that during that time, they started directing the agencies and services on how to react to certain events and what protections needed to be in place. So we really saw it during 9/11, where it was unknown what the adversary really was and what they were trying to do. And we received directions to close down ports on the firewall and access. And but yet, for DLA, whose business is very much with the commercial world, we had to work with JTF-GNO and DISA to figure out that operational balance. Well, we can't shut down to the internet because our mission requires it. So it was definitely a learning time. I'll be honest, when I started as that GS3 temporary clerk typist, this was my job to keep money in my pocket until something better came along. And then the opportunities that I've had here at DLA, my college major was accounting. I'm in cybersecurity. So everything I've learned through DLA. And at every point, I can look back and see people who were interested in me, and kind, and showed me things that helped me progress to the next level. The opportunities, I lived in Germany for 5 years. I've been to Hawaii. I've been to every major J6 site, CONUS. Actually I blinked, and here I am 38 years later. So, but the work is always challenging. It's always interesting. The people have been wonderful. I never really had an inclination to leave.